welcome or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. I'm so glad that you're joining me for these messages. It just brings me so much joy to read your cards. Speaking of, my calendar is now open for personal readings. The link for that is in the description below. Of course, anything you could ever want to know about this reading is going to be in the description below. And honestly, that's really all I have. I'm not even sure what decks we're going to be using yet. I just started getting that poking feeling last night to start putting out messages again. So that's what we're going to do. And this is probably the quickest intro I've ever done, but let's get into it. Hello again. Oh, I always do that. Anyway, I know I probably said hello in the intro, whatever. So let's see who's next. Oh, that was kind of funny. We have 5-2. Let's do it. Oh my gosh. Okay. My neighbor's dog is outside. Dogs? I don't know. And they're not all that happy about it. So I was trying to kind of wait them out and see if they brought them inside. But anyway, so if you hear barking dogs, I apologize. I hope it's not as annoying to you. I love dogs. Don't get me wrong. I have a dog. I'm not a fan of, just dogs barking all day. But anyway, it's okay. Maybe it's part of the message. Everything is part of the message, right? So usually, in the past I would have some sort of website or content, some sort of, information to give you about your profile. And this time around, I didn't have that already ready to go. And then I realized that, and I went out searching for some information, and there is a lot of great information out there, but for whatever reason, nothing was just kind of hitting the spot. So I was like, okay, it must not be part of the message this time around. But I did just want to give just a quick, blurb before we get into the reading. The one thing that is that I find, just kind of fascinating about the 5-2 is the self-motivation thing. Literally nobody can tell you, nobody can bring you out of your cave. Nobody can motivate you to do something that you don't already want to do, or that you don't already recognize within yourself. So I'm curious about that. If, if you feel like sharing your experience with that, definitely comment below. I'm a 5-1, so, my first line loves information and learning, and especially, learning from other people, firsthand knowledge. It just scratches an itch for me. So anyway, but yeah, that self-motivation thing, you have to recognize a gift or a talent within yourself. If somebody recognizes something in that hermit line, because the hermit line comes with an innate ability or talent, genius to some degree. The fifth line is also comes with a projection field of being the hero or the general, or you could step in and just really kind of change something for people. But if somebody was wow, you're a really great artist, you could really make an impact with your art. If you don't see it yourself, or if that's not even something that you're interested in, you're not even going to entertain it, right? But if it is something that you already feel motivated by, then, like you would hear it, you would understand it, you would take it as like validation. And that's just an example. Of course, it doesn't have to be art, but it is really interesting. So like I said, if you feel like sharing your experience with your profile and just the self-motivation thing, and like how interactions like with other people are, because it's also interesting that you have like kind of opposite energies. Like the fifth line is very transpersonal, so it has like a karma with other people, and the second line is the opposite of that, like just needing breaks from people in order to rejuvenate, and just kind of even the dance between those two energies. Very interesting. So yeah, let me know. Again, if you don't feel comfortable, obviously that's totally okay. So we are going to get an oracle card from the Everyday Witch Oracle, and then we have the Everyday Witch Tarot here. I literally just picked these up like a week ago when I started making these videos, or when I started putting these videos out. I think in the intro I said I wasn't even sure what decks we were going to use, and then that day I went to a metaphysical shop in my town here in Colorado Springs, and I've been meaning to go there. I'm pretty sure they opened in 2021 maybe, and I've been meaning to go there ever since, and I just kept forgetting. So I finally went, and they had both of these decks. I have the pocket size Everyday Witch Tarot, and I wanted the normal size because it also comes with a book. And like I said, my first line loves knowledge, learning, and I love little booklets because I love hearing other people's perspectives. It just helps me expand my knowledge. So I'm halfway talking because, I'm still shuffling. We just need one card. Okay. Just need one. What is the overall vibe for 5 2s? Accept love. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, like immediately I just kind of heard in my head like accepting compliments, even if there is something that you're not really interested in, or whatever the case may be, it's like if people are complimenting you, let them. This could be romantic love, of course, too. It kind of has a romantic love vibe to it. So it could go a few different ways. If you're looking for a relationship, or if you're looking for love, right? I mean, that would be opening your heart to it. It could even just be like opening your heart in general, like if you have, kind of closed yourself in, been a little too much in that hermit mode. And it could even just be because of the projections that the fifth line gets. We even had the hermit come out. We have the Hierophant, the hermit, and the Fool. Yeah. 3 more. Because the fifth line is going to come with a projection field. Like, people project onto you this savior thing, or like hero thing, right? Like there's something that, and especially with the second line too, they see something in you that you're good at, or could universalize with the fifth line. And if you do, and if it's not correct for you, then it's like, you didn't live up to their projection somehow, and they blame you for that. So they burn you at the stake. And if, excuse me, and if that happens enough times, it kind of creates this paranoia thing in the fifth line. Like, not really wanting to do anything, not really even wanting to put yourself out there because, out of fear, like literally paranoia of having to deal with the fallout. But again, like going back to your strategy and authority, Your strategy and authority is going to help you enter into the correct, quote unquote, experiences. And your profile is how you navigate the energy of those experiences. I love that these all came out 3 at a time. Now that's interesting. Let me make sure everything is in frame here. Okay. What's interesting is that literally these 3 cards came out in this order, in these positions for the 6-2 reading, I believe. And I shuffle these cards a lot between readings. I mean, you saw me shuffling there anyway, but that's just interesting to me. Like, the odds of that happening, pretty rare. So I'm curious what the book says about, for many of us, it is easy to give love to others. It may be a little more difficult to accept it in return. Accepting love means believing you are worthy of the gift, and not all of us really believe that we are. Accepting love can also feel risky. After all, if you open yourself to love, it can then be taken away, leaving yourself vulnerable and hurt. Passion, like fire, can burn us, but it is still worth it. Only in both the giving and receiving of love can we form balanced relationships, whether between friends, family, or romantic partners. You don't have to let people in if their affection seems false or comes with a price. But if those around you offer love freely and genuinely, accept it with an open heart. I assure you, you do deserve it. Yeah, like, I do feel a bit like this is that paranoia part that comes with, I mean, both the 5th and the 2nd line. I think the projection that comes with the 5th line is a bit more harsh than it is with the 2nd line. But I mean, you have both, so it's like coming from both sides. And as somebody, again, that has a 5th line on the conscious side, I get it. I 100% get that. And this is really almost kind of like this thing about shaking off the shell or the armor or whatever that you've built up around you, or mainly even built up around your heart. Because if you just really kind of tune into your heart space and even recognize what sensations you get in your chest when you do deal with other people, you might find that your heart center is a bit more closed off. And like it said, it's not like you have to like walk around with that door wide open, just letting anybody in. But it's also, it's also about not shutting everybody out. So let's just start from the beginning. We have the Hierophant here, and the Hierophant talks about traditional institutions, tradition in general. So, it's passing down knowledge, astrology can be described as a Hierophant because it's a science that has been practiced and passed down for centuries. Right? It's organized religion. It's traditional marriage, traditional relationships. It's your 9-to-5 job. There's a yoga practice here going on. So there's also this leader quality. There's a community quality. It could be a spiritual practice. This is a card of Taurus. Just putting that out there. There doesn't have to be a Taurus involved, but if there is. I was trying to find, the Fool is air, the Hanged Man is water, Hermit is Virgo. And look what is paired with the Hierophant. It's the 8 of Cups, leaving it behind. This is making an emotional decision. that whatever is going on in here is not bringing you fulfillment. If it did at one point, great, but it is no longer hitting that spot for you anymore. It could be recognizing that you don't want to have a 9-to-5 job for the rest of your life. It could be recognizing that traditional type of relationships aren't for you, or a traditional family. And by traditional, I just mean, like the nuclear family, right? Like, expanding your horizons on what family is. Like maybe you already have an idea of that, or have an idea of what type of relationship you want to have. It could even be leaving behind an organized religion. I'm just, all of the things that I mentioned before. Because the 8 of Cups is recognizing when it's time to detach from something. There's these 8 cups here. There's this one last cup here that has some smoke coming out of it. So it's like the last candle burned. That last bit of flame is done, and they are walking away. And what I always say with the 8 of Cups is that they're making a decision to walk towards the 9 of Cups. And look who we have right next to them. I mean, we'll get to that. But the odds of this, the odds of this happening, and especially the odds of this happening twice, because like I said, it wasn't a 6 in the 6-2 reading also. It's rare, but I love to see it because that's real, that is just real. Then we have the Hermit card here. Speaking of Hermit, I love that there's a little owl right there too. But the Hermit talks about going within. It's finding the guidance within yourself. There's a bit of a lone wolf aspect to the Hermit because it's kind of like only you can walk your path. And only you know what your path is. And this is really, connecting to that. Getting quiet enough in order to even hear it. 3 of these cards have their eyes closed. 4 of these cards have their eyes closed. 3 of these cards are meditating, or at least, they appear to be meditating. So, meditation practice, it could just be this invitation to invoke a meditation practice, at least maybe even for the time being. I love Steve Noble. Like if you like a guided meditation, some people do, some people don't. I have an undefined head. So I think that, I don't know, I think even that could go either way. Like I read something somewhere where somebody was asking the question, do you have a defined or undefined head, and how do you feel about guided meditations? And it was kind of all over the place. So there's not really one. I just like having something to focus my attention on versus the thoughts that are passing through my mind. So if you like a guided practice, I like Steve Noble. He has a ton of different ones. He invokes, like the 4 corners and archangels for protection while you're in meditation. Dr. Joe Dispenza is another great one. I haven't tried finding his meditations on YouTube though. I have a bunch of them like purchased, but yeah. Or even, however, it could even be a yoga practice. It could be, wherever you kind of find the ability to quiet the mind, because it's also like, no decision is going to be made from the mind anyway. And that's, I think, why there's a lot of this big energy about getting quiet. And also too, accepting love. It's like, really connecting to your strategy and authority, but the best decisions for us, or, like the guidance is going to come from our heart or our gut, or, it's not going to come from our mind. We can't think our way out of it. So, and then we have the Nine of Cups, which there's a 9, there's a 9. So I love that synchronicity also. And the Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. There's this level of contentment with them and peace. So whatever this is, that you're leaving behind, the intention of doing that is to get to this place, even discover what is it that would bring you fulfillment and peace and purpose. What would get you to a beach where you can sit down and relax? It's like, this could even be astral projecting. They're sitting in the woods here, and on this one, they're sitting on the beach, but it's, kind of this, almost the same position, crisscross applesauce. So this is also at night. This is during the day. And then we have the Fool. And I love that, like, the Fool is paired with the Hanged Man, because it's almost kind of like opposite energies in a certain way. The Fool is all about taking a leap of faith. There's, kind of this freedom aspect to it. There's throwing caution to the wind type of thing. This is, that moment that you decide to go for something. Oh my gosh, there's this cat. So, they're like, yeah, let's go. And this cat is like hanging on for dear life. If you can see it back there. I can't see the camera screen. That's funny. Being excited about a new beginning. And then the Hanged Man is about suspension, sometimes delay, but it's also, seeing things from a different perspective. That's the whole purpose of the Hanged Man. And the whole purpose of a potential delay is to see things from a different perspective. This could be looking at the Fool from a different perspective, like recognizing that you're not starting from scratch, you're starting from experience. And even if you were starting from scratch, like if you're trying to get into a completely different career field or something, it's like the beginner's mind, like allowing yourself to be a beginner and being comfortable with that. We're all beginners at some point in our lives, and many points in our lives. And if we did not allow ourselves to be a beginner, there's so much shit that we would miss out on because of pride or ego. F that. And also, this figure, they have the key in their hand. So it's like, you're not stuck, you're not trapped. And if you do feel stuck, if you do feel trapped, it's like, again, getting the energy out of your mind, because that's something that the mind creates. And look for different ways to go. Like the book, I think, for the Hanged Man, it specifically says, if you feel stuck, instead of like continuing to bang your head against the wall, go over the wall or go around it, right? It's like, come up with solutions versus complaining about the problem. I mean, do both, right? Like I'm a firm believer in complaining. Firm believer in complaining. But yeah, complain about it, but then also find a solution. We have the Queen of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Pentacles having to do with our money, how we get it, how we spend it, how we save it. It's about time. Again, how we get it, how we spend it, how we save it. It's about our physical body, the tangible things in the 3D. It's about our house. There's also a maternal aspect to this, because there's, a cat and a few kittens around here. Very nurturing, but also like abundant. We have grapes here. There's, these fruits or this tree has fruit on it. There's this chest with a bunch of coins in it. It's like, what you need, you are going to have an abundance of. If it's money, you'll have an abundance of it. If it's materials and resources, you'll have an abundance of it. And this is also even recognizing this within yourself. Recognizing that you have something to offer in whatever you're going to do. The King of Wands, this could be an entrepreneur if you want to start your own thing. The King of Wands, wands having to do with action, communication, it's creativity, it's our passion and our desire. The King is the highest expression of the suit also. So there's this creative freedom because they're not going to be told what to do. Same with the 5-2 profile, right? This is you having to self-motivate yourself because literally only you can do it. If you're like kind of waiting for somebody else to pull it out of you, no. 4 of Cups, being a bit bored. Maybe you haven't liked the options that you have tried. Maybe you're exhausted, even lethargic. The 9 of Wands. The Wounded Warrior. 3 of Pentacles, working with other people. Yeah, it starts with opening your heart and recognizing, even to, like I said, that paranoia bit, making a decision, really connecting into like what is authentic for you, going for it. And I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.